Hi, I'm back here again in SwiftPOS Back Office, and in this video I'm going to be talking a little bit more about Clerk Security Groups. In the previous video we talked about clerk groups, which are mostly used to control various things at the point of sale. However, Clerk Security Groups are generally used to control what different clerks can do here in SwiftPOS Back Office. I'm going to start here in Clerks and then Clerk Security Groups. Here you'll see a list of all of your different Clerk Security Groups that you have set up. And if I click on Full Edit with Administrators highlighted, you'll see all of the different things that are enabled or disabled for that particular security group. So these control the kinds of things that clerks can see in back office if they log in using their clerk ID and PIN. I'm going to close this screen for now, and we'll have a look at the Managers security group next. You can see there's quite a lot fewer options checked here, meaning that clerks in the Managers security group are restricted to only a few different parts of the software. So I'm going to close out of here and come into Clerks and Clerk Records. And we'll start having a look at some of these different clerk numbers. So I'll start with clerk number 1. We can see that clerk number 1, Amy, is set to Security Group Administrators. If I take a look at clerk number 2, Clara, you'll see that she is set to Security Group Managers. Now I'm currently logged in as admin, this guy here, so I can see everything. I'm going to log in using clerk number 2, just to show how that looks for that particular clerk. So if I click on Log Off Clerk, all of the screens that I have open will be closed, and I'll be presented with the Clerk Logon panel. I'm going to enter Clerk ID 2 and PIN number 2. That allows me to log on as Clara, and you can see the clerk's name is displayed down the bottom here. Now if you have a look at the main menu, you'll see that there's quite a lot fewer menu items available here. And that's because all of the ones that are restricted from this particular clerk security group are going to be hidden. You'll also notice that under each particular menu item, some of the sub-menu items are also hidden, so you can be quite selective in exactly what you hide or show to a particular clerk security group. So this clerk, being a manager, could change product records, perhaps change prices or descriptions, things like that. They would be able to create new products, new groups, perhaps enter specials and promotions, things like that. They may be able to do adjustments, transfers, stock takes, as well as invoices and purchase orders. They can even modify some clerk records. However, if we take a look at this particular clerk that I'm logged in as, you'll see that this particular clerk can modify everything about her own clerk number except for the security group that she's in, because if she were able to do that, that would kind of defeat the purpose of having the security group. She could change that to be administrator, and then she could do anything she wanted in the software. I'm going to log back in as admin, and we'll take a look at some of the different options that you can allow or disallow for different clerks. So we'll take a look at the administrators clerk security group, and most of these options reflect the menus that you see over the side here, and you can expand each of them to show the various sub-menu items. So if we take a look at products, for example, you'll see that these sub-menu items mostly reflect what you see here, and that means you can select or deselect things to a pretty fine degree giving you quite a lot of control over what different clerks can and cannot do in the software. There are a couple of buttons down the bottom here to check all or reset all, and check all is pretty much just going to check every box that there is. So I'll click that now. It takes a moment, and that has pretty much expanded every single menu item and put a little tick into that box. And now if I click on reset all, that's going to work its way down and take the tick out of every single box. We certainly don't want to save this Clerk Security Group with these settings, so I'm going to check all of those again, and I'll save my changes. Over on the right hand side you'll see another panel that looks quite similar. This really covers all of the different reports that a clerk might be able to run. So I'm just going to expand the reports screen, and you'll see that the reports groups and subgroups that are set up here pretty much reflect what we've got here. So for example, you might have a particular clerk who needs to be able to run a particular kind of report, perhaps a group sales report, something like that, but you don't really want them to run any other kinds of reports. So for example, you might reset all of these checkboxes and then just go looking for the individual reports that that clerk should be able to run, and you can check those reports individually. So I'm just going to check all of those boxes now and save my changes. And that's how you would control what different clerks can do in the back office software, and have quite fine control over all of the different reports and menu items that they can access. I'm back here on the Clerk Security Groups screen, and if I wanted to add a new Clerk Security Group, I could do that quite easily by clicking on New. It's going to open up the full edit screen of that particular security group, and I can give that a name. By default, everything is going to be unchecked, so before this is actually going to be usable for a clerk, you'll want to go ahead and figure out what sort of permissions you're going to give to that particular clerk security group. If you have a clerk security group that you want to remove, first of all you'll need to remove any clerks from that security group, so reassign them to different security groups. If you try to remove a clerk security group that has clerks in it, you will be warned that you can't do that until you've moved those clerks out. So once that clerk security group is not in use by any clerks, you can highlight it here, click on delete, and you'll be asked to confirm your action, and that security group has now gone away. Alright, so that's the basics of Clerk Security Groups. I hope that's been helpful for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.